All right, welcome back to It's Time Picks. We have UFC Fight Night Barboza versus Lerone Murphy, the undefeated young prospect. Last week's card did not go so well. It was a dog card for sure, but we did not pick all the right dogs. It was a super weird card. More
Mm-hmm.
bad judging that kind of screwed things up a little bit. But overall, at least it was somewhat entertaining. Getting really sick and tired of judges kind of fucking things up, though.
Yeah, he pretty much took everything out of my mouth. I told you during that beginning of the week, I thought it was gonna be a dog type week, but like I said, we didn't get every single dog because I wasn't expecting Waldo to actually turn into a wrestler and Rebellis look like a fish off his back.
Yep.
And then Ferreira just showed Rebecca
I
experience matters.
that fight was I don't even know. Don't
That was
even know.
that's when I turned the fight on and I saw round two and three. I'm like, dang, Rebecca's slowing down.
Yeah, so but on to this week. We'll jump right into it. Very first fight of the night. We got Emily Ducati versus Vanessa Demopoulos. And as always, we will kick it over to Joey to start us off.
So as a DFS fight, this is a fight I'm probably not going to target. But
Correct.
the only thing I will say, if you need a salary saver, Vanessa does fight for your money. But primarily, if she's going to win this fight, it's going to be her having to grapple, get takedowns, and if she gets it down, she's a lot very live for a sub. But I absolutely got the Cody in this fight. I think she's going to be the minute winner on the feet, the way better striker, the stronger fighter, and without a finish within the first two rounds, the Cody ain't paying off nothing. So if anything, if you're a degenerate, you want to bet Dakota by decision or Demopolis by submission is probably the two I would look at. But realistically, I got Dakota by decision.
Yep, I do too. Don't got a whole lot to say. Demopoulos' only edge in this fight will be on the mat. However, uh, Ducati has 92% takedown defense thus far in the UFC.
Mhm.
It's very good. So good luck getting her down. If she does, she could, she dominate on the mat and she could easily be a big steal at her price. But I'm going with Ducati and I don't expect a high score out of it.
So one thing I would say also when I was looking at this fight, and I'm gonna probably bring this up a couple times during the card. I firmly do believe in some spots these are get right spots for fighters. I firmly do believe that. So that's why I'm kind of thinking there could be like a favorite, a little hint maybe. This could be a favorite right type of card, but we'll see. But yeah, I think this is the Cody spot get right because they were so high on her when they first signed her.
Definitely. So both of us are indeed on the favorite and Emily Ducati. Next up, we have Alatang Haley against Clayton Rodriguez. And like you just mentioned, the whole get right thing. Not that he has been absolutely terrible or anything, but Clayton did lose his last time out quite badly at that. It was against a Basharat brother, so I mean, I'm going to give him some leeway on that. And I do still think that he won the fight against CJ Vergara. That said, I do think this is a really good spot for him. It's a really good spot for DFS. I think he's only 8,600. He's got finish written all over this fight. He is one of my favorites. This is where we find out if Clayton really is worth a damn. Alatane can be dangerous at times, but he's more of a low level fighter. That said, Clayton will probably be locked into my lineups.
So I'm not big for the Monday, Tuesday. I was back and forth on this fight. I know Clayton's the more dangerous person on the feet. He damn near knocked out Shannon Ross with his one butt cheek, and then got him with punches. One thing I will say about Alatang, he's a durable guy. At least in the UFC, he has been. He's been finished outside. Um, but the one thing I am worried about in this fight, Clayton Rodriguez takedown defense is poop. But and Alatang can wrestle whenever he actually uses his IQ because he is low volume on the feet. He's not going to be the minute winner on the feet. I am also on Rodriguez. This was actually a pick switch that actually switched today. And I know a lot of people are be looking at some of those higher 9K options. So I'm really hoping to get some leverage with Rodriguez to hopefully get a finish. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, decision, but the way Alatang's low volume, this kid's not low volume. It could be one of those ref steps in, standing TKOs, and it wouldn't shock me one bit.
Yeah, I know that the majority of people are on
Alatang.
Palatang in this fight, and I really don't
Mm.
agree with it. So
Even though I will say, I think Rodriguez does need to go down to 25 again at some point, get the cut better. Because sooner or later he is going to run into a lot bigger 35ers, and that which could give him issues. And he's still young, so that's also a benefit. So once he actually learns to get the cut down to 125 with how lackluster the overall division is, he can potentially get himself up there.
Definitely. So both of us are on the favorite for this fight, Clayton Rodriguez. Next up, we've got Piera Rodriguez and Ariane Carnelosi. And who you got in this one?
So I'm gonna get your reaction on this one. I think both girls suck. I think Rodriguez is more talented, like more well-rounded. She mixes in her wrestling. She's a better combination fighter. But one thing that does scare me in this fight, going against Carnelosi, who is on a 2-year layoff. She's finally probably off the juice a little bit, but she's still jacked. One thing that does scare me in this fight for Pierre, she walks flat-footed when she comes forward. You can't go flat-footed against a power aggressive person like Carnelosi. And yes, Carnelosi's takedown off defense absolute is poop water, and Rodriguez could be live for takedown city if it gets to that way. Or I think Carnelosi, there's a chance if she finishes this fight, it's usually inside the first 2 rounds. I'm actually going to go dog here and go Carnelosi. I think the aggressiveness is going to hurt Rodriguez with how flat-footed she can get. Maybe she gets caught. I'm not saying maybe she gets knocked out cold. She could get rocked, maybe get ground and pounded. And she's been subbed. Carnelosi has decent submissions, so I'm not going to discredit the Jillian Robertson fight because she's an insane, one of the best grapplers in UFC. So I'm not going to discredit that. But just going back, seeing how flat-footed Pierre can be and decides to change in the pocket, don't do that against this big girl. And I think she is, and I think Carnelosi is a decent dog to get to.
I don't necessarily disagree. I said that Carnelosi's live in the first round because after that she tends to just gas out. And I actually think that's what happens here. I like Piera to survive that first round onslaught, and then it becomes control city on the mat. So slightly different, but I also would not be surprised if Carnelosi did knock her out in the first. That would also pay huge dividends. Definitely have some shares of her. I would not have any shares of Rodriguez because 2 rounds is not enough to
No.
score well. Now, if it's 3 rounds of takedown, rinse, and repeat, then she
Oh,
might
yeah, then
shatter. But so that'll be the first one we are split on. I've got the favorite in Pierre Rodriguez. Joey's got the dog in Ariane Carnelosi. Next up, we have one of my favorite fights of the night, Abbas Magomedov against Warley Alves. Alves has been knocked out pretty horrifically in back-to-back fights. He is a good but not great fighter. That's not back-to-back fights. Two of the last 3 fights. But he also got his shit kicked in by Nicholas Dalby, which says a lot. Magomedov he has lost 2 consecutive fights, and partly due to his cardio, but he was also fighting guys that are in the top 10, and one of them was formerly champ. So that said, I think this is a great spot for Magomedov to light him up. I think this has first round knockout written all over it, and he is locked into my lineup, especially at 9K.
So as I know a lot of ownerships probably can go to the high K. It's probably gonna be a stars and scrub week for most people if they think about it. But like I said, is leverage spots on this card you can get to, and we'll get to them when the fights come. And as I broke it down earlier, not too long ago, I think there are spots on this card where it is a get right spot, and this is a great get right spot for Abus. I was on him since he got into UFC, and I'm not taking too much from Dustin Stolfist. Yes, he called him 16 seconds. What do you think is going to happen when he fought 2 guys inside the top 10? Former champ Strickland, and then the absolute grappling fiend of Barallo, who's starting to get his way up. So I think this is an absolute get right spot for Abus. As you said, first round, and he's definitely one of my locks in my lineup. And his knockout prop in round 1, that's probably the best you could probably get for him. Or if you think maybe he gets out of round 1, which I don't know if it does. I think he's just going to catch him early. So you can probably get some decent odds on just a boost round 1 KO.
Definitely. So both of us are on the larger favorite, Magomedov. Next up, we have another female fight with Tamiris Vidal against Melissa Gatto. And I just want to point out to start that Joey was slightly on Vidal to start the week because he's dumb. But Joey, where are you at now?
So, you could have said elsewhere, but I'm not a der. But let's just say I thought Vidal. I was trying to go back. I'm like, look, I know Vidal was a favorite against Rendon. I watched that Rendon fight. You're gonna think I'm crazy. I watched that fight 3 times today when I
Well,
was able
see,
in and out. After the third one, I did. I actually did. I snoozed off for like 10 minutes, and then I forgot what happened. I was like, wait, I already watched it twice. But getting back to the fight, I thought, in this fight, I thought Vidal would be faster on the combinations. No.
no,
Then now I thought about it. I was like, for one, gotta look good on the scale today. She looked real good on the scale, so I'd like to see that. Maybe going up weight can actually help her a little bit. Maybe even be more stronger when it goes to takedowns because she probably did cut a little bit to get down to 125. And from what I've seen from Vidal, her takedown defense is absolute dookie water. And
I tried telling you
this is
this
another spot.
always.
This is another spot you really got to look at for a potential. I think she's more of a. What do you think? GPP cash? Probably GPP.
Cash.
Yeah, because I think she's arguably she might have one of the easiest opponents. Now we just going at it. I think she's gonna have the power advantage. I think she's gonna have the speed advantage. She's definitely gonna have the offensive wrestling advantage. The only thing I can say is, like I said, that's lower level competition for Vidal. She can go to decision, but she don't throw nothing. She throws maybe one or two puppet shots, and then she circles, low volume. I don't even think she's worth a spot anymore. So yeah, as Drake said, I was the dummy that was thinking, hey, maybe a nice little dog spot. No, I think Gatto's gonna. I'm trying to see how I'm gonna work her in because of all the 9K options, but I think she is live to at least get close to paying that off or absolutely smashing. So just determine how you feel about the other 9K options. If you think she can dominate in a 3-round decision, which I think she has a chance to, she could probably get in the hundreds. Early finish, that's 100. Or unless you're really crazy like I was Monday, Tuesday, and thinking this fight could play close, then you fade her. But you got to figure out what you're going to do for your lineups. I'm not sure about it. I got to see what I can work around. But yeah, I got Gatto. And to me, I think she's safe to parlay.
Yeah, no, I agree. I prefer her for cash over GPP because I don't think she's high enough to score in the optimal.
Mm-hmm.
But she is definitely a safe pick for your lineup for cash games. Vidal is nothing and not really worth a damn. Now that we've said that, she's probably going to come out and knock her out in like 10 seconds
And then I'm
because
going to smack you for making me change.
that's just how UFC has been lately. But no, Gato is better everywhere. She's quicker, she's stronger, she's
Better
much better
looking.
ground game. Her striking is much more crisp. So I've got Gato all the way. So both of us are locked into the favorite, Melissa Gatto. Next up, we have two debuting fighters in Umar Sy and Tuko Tokos. Not really a whole lot to say for this fight because Tokos is not that great of a fighter. He hasn't really fought anybody. Not that Sy's really fought much of anybody, but Tokos got knocked out bad back in the road UFC. He is on a 3-fight winning streak, but it's against nobodies. Sy is making his debut after well, he hasn't really lost. He's 9-0. So
Yeah.
he's just had a successful run just about everywhere. You could say his level of competition record wise is definitely better, but it's still not the greatest. That said, he's got a lot of power and he is also a really good grappler. I don't think Tokos has much of a chance here. They did put Sy's salary at 9,600 on DraftKings, which always sucks, especially with a debuting fighter. So I'm going to probably pass on him because you just don't know how that's going to happen. But I do like him for a parlay piece.
I do agree. Tuco's got absolutely dominated by Ming Yang Zhang, and I think that he actually took that fight on short notice in it also, and he absolutely got demolished. Face planted, was out cold. Could side do it to this guy hit on the feet? It's very possible. Um, but one thing I actually like to see out of Sai, most French fighters, yeah, they're good, calculated strikers. This guy can wrestle too. I'm like, who's your wrestling coach? You gotta go ahead and teach Cyril Gane that shit. But and then Cyril Gane will probably be champion by then. Um, but not realistically, Sai looks like a good prospect. 7 has 9 inside the distance. But the one thing I do like to see, he can go to decision, so he's 2 on the decision, so that's always good to see. I don't know if Sai has the power of Ming Yang. Ming Yang has that freaky power. Sai has his own type of power, but yeah, this might be more of a I want to see it to believe it for maybe for next time. Could
Hmm.
he absolutely score over in the hundreds if he gets an early finish? Absolutely possible. But yeah, I'm probably gonna fade for GPP. You know, people say, "Oh, but the short wins for cash. You lock him in cash. Go ahead, I guess." That's more of a Drake call, but I'm probably staying away from it. But to me, he's another good parlay piece on the money line. But even though he's the highest money line now, last time I saw he was like minus 500. Unless you think he
Yeah,
finished inside the distance, you could probably get a lower number. But
which he
I
probably,
don't.
I think he definitely has a chance to do that. But both of us are on the favorite Umar Sy making his debut. Next up, we have the final fight of the prelims. We have Tom Nolan going against Victor Martinez. Both of these guys had very unsuccessful debuts.
Mhm.
Both of them were knocked out. Um, who you got in this one, Joey?
So yeah, everyone had to hype on Tom Nolan. Me and you both were on Tom Nolan, but you did break down and say Mata is dangerous as shit. So I will give you credit for that. You said that. I don't know how many lines you had with Mata, but I know you did play him some. But realistically, yes, Nolan got KO'd by a legit dangerous striker. Yes. Victor Martinez got knocked out by a pure grappler,
Yeah,
a grappler, and
yeah.
Mr. Monkey King himself, Jordan Levitt. I mean, you telling me you get knocked out by Jordan Levitt,
You're gonna get
and
murdered
it
by
was
Nolan.
mean. I think somewhere within the first 2 rounds, Nolan's gonna get the knockout. Maybe I'll take around if he bull rushes him. I know he. I don't know. One thing that does scare me about this fight, which I'm considering fading a little bit, just a little. Two guys that got badly knocked out. What if they're gun shy early? That's what scares me the most on this fight.
I don't think Nolan will be.
Now I don't. I think it's gonna be more on the Martinez side because of Nolan's range because he does have a 6 inch reach. No, is it reach or no height? 6 inch height. So he's gonna try to look to use his range, but it wouldn't shock me if these two have an early feel out and then one of these seconds Nolan's is gonna come in and clock them.
Yeah, Nolan's got height, reach, and he's a southpaw. So I really like Nolan in this fight.
You just got to see how working around DFS and how you're gonna try to fit those higher pay ups and
It's definitely tough, but I do see a first or a second round knockout for Nolan in this
yep.
fight. Victor Martinez really isn't much to worry about, especially for Nolan. I feel like they gave him this fight to get him in the win column. So that'll be big. Uh,
I honestly think Martinez belongs a weight class down, but he barely looked like he made weight today. So I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Guess we'll find out in this fight. But both of us are on the favorite in Tom Nolan. Next up, we have the main card. Very first fight is Angela Hill and Luana Pinheiro. Pinheiro. This is one of those trap fights, and I
Hmm.
really don't like it. I like it, but I don't like it. So I have Luana in this fight. She is the dog. I know that she lost and struggled to Amanda Hebos last time out, but Amanda Hebos was on a ridiculous kind of run against the top fighters, barely losing to Barber and barely losing to Rose Namajunas before, after that. So she is definitely, one of the up and coming female fighters. She did win 4 in a row before she lost to Hebos. Angela Hill is Angela Hill. We know all about her. We know what she does. We know what her game is. And she continues to play gatekeeper in this division. She is now 39. She is going to start slowing down at some point. Time catches everybody. Pinheiro is going to be much faster than her. Angela Hill did wrestle last time out. So if that's going to be a new facet to her game, I think this is not the fight to do it in because she could get herself in a very bad situation. But this fight is really hard to predict and call. I do have the dog. Joey, where are you at?
So this is why I love and hate you at the same time. You know your shit. That's what I love the most. Secondly, I hate because you pretty much damn near said everything I just put down over here, and then I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna get into my pick. I'm actually picking Panero as well. And the main reason is, like I said, and the crazy thing is, one thing I also looked at before I joined, Panero's ranked ninth, Hill's ranked 12th, and Hill's,
Yeah.
considered as the favorite still, which don't be shocked, but when it gets closer to the fight, that line might get close and be even money. It wouldn't shock me. So if you like Panero, try to get a little action on her now before she comes almost even money. Um, but yeah, so I don't like this fight
Panero's
as a whole.
14.
Oh shit! I went on the UFC website. It said she was like ninth.
Yeah, she's 14.
What's Hills?
Angela's 12, but Luana is 14.
Oh shit! Now you got me when we looked at. But pretty much I can do both at the same time and talk. So Hill is a point fighter usually. If she does that type of style in this fight, she's gonna cruise to a win. Honestly, I really do mean that because she'll just
I don't
hit and
know.
move. I don't know. Look, think about it. She hits and moves. Ah! Does her little, little sound effects. No, that's the wrong weight class. That's the Garasa. No, that's the Waylay weight class. Yeah, on UFC ranking.
Hmm, weird. They're not.
Yeah, that's why I was so confused about it.
Stuff is
But
not in sync then.
no. So that's why when I hear Sean Strickland say, "Man, screw the rankings. Nobody cares about the rankings." So
Pretty damn accurate.
See, Sean Strickland, you got a freaking point. But getting back to this fight, I'm gonna get off track. Yeah, like Hill's usually a point fighter, circles, and does that. But as you broke down the last two fights, she's been trying to close distance, get in the clinch, even wrestle. You can't do that this fight. Realistically, want her to do it because I can promise you easily with no problem. People are gonna say, "Oh, Angela Hill's takedown defense." But I'll say this right now: if she closes the clinch with Panero, she's gonna judo toss the shit out of her. And I'm not saying it's gonna be hard. She's gonna judo toss her like easily if she closes that clinch. Um, I do got Panero in this fight. I think this fight is gonna be close to some points. If you think maybe she does it for the entire 3 rounds and 7,900 is a decent tag, it is. I wish I was getting a little bit lower, like the 75 or 74. Um, I got Panero. If a bet for it, maybe Panero by decision, but I don't know why. I'm getting a tingle. If she gets her down early, I don't know why. I may look at her prop for submission. It's a sneaky thing. She's not a bad grappler.
Which one?
And Panero, she's not a bad
Oh,
grappler.
she's got a perp about BJJ. So
Yeah, like and you know when Hill does lose by submission early in her career, it was way early. She lost it to both Ronda Marcos because Ronda Marcos took her down with no problem, submit, and then Thug Rose submitted her. I'm not saying I don't know who is the better grappling out of the three. I'd probably say Ronda Marcos probably because that's all she pretty much grew on, and then Rose does it, and then now Panero does it. I'm telling you, that could be a sneaky play. I don't know what the odds are, but I'll check it off stream. And but yeah, maybe Panero by submission's a sneaky play, but more than
uh,
likely, I think this fight goes 15.
probably, but I don't disagree. It is kind of sneaky considering she's also a black belt in judo, and like you said, that judo throw or judo's trip might come into play in this fight quite often. So both of us are on the dog on this one. We both really like Juana Pinheiro. Next up, we have Adrian Yanez and Benicio Salvador. This is another one of those get right fights. And Joey, who you got?
I think this fight's gonna actually be potential fight of the night. I really do mean that. But realistically, you know, everyone was high on Giannis. I still like Giannis. Giannis got some of the quickest goddamn hands probably in the division. His boxing's crisp as shit. Are you really gonna call him Cheney after really only getting caught by Rob Font? Which, hey, I picked Rob Font. And I picked Rob Font by knockout, and I got paid heavily that weekend. I had crab dinner that week. But that's Rob Font. I know Salvador, he likes to try to showboat. Oh yeah, come on, back against the cage. You can't do that against Yanez, or Yanez is gonna hit you with the meanest freaking hand. But I got a weird feeling if somebody, because this is gonna be a pure striking match. You're gonna try to pick shots. I see somebody getting rocked, and maybe someone getting finished potentially. Salvador looked good making weight today. I'll give you guys credit for that. And to me, I think he's a worth maybe a sprinkle in the deep GPPs. Because if you think Giannis Chin's done, which I don't necessarily think is done, but if you think it's done, Salvador's going to be low owned, and him at his salary, no matter how he wins, I think primarily knockout. Of course, he's going to break the slate because I don't think he's going to have the pure volume. If it is a pure volume, then he's going to absolutely break it because Giannis will bring the volume. I'm actually going to take one more shot. I'm actually going to be crazy. I'm going to go Salvador. And you're like I said, this was the one fight I was like the most torn on because I watched Salvador, I thought maybe split decision fight. It was close, his last fight. But I think this is the type of fight that is going to bring Salvador to fight. Because other guys were too patient with him because they really couldn't get in range. Yanez is not going to be patient with him. So either Yanez gets a potential finish within the first two, then he pays it off. Salvador, I'll give Salvador credit. He is a good counter striker. He can bob and weave, and during interviews this week, not to keep on going, he apparently said he's going to try to he predicts a first round knockout. And if I'm not gonna lie, I may even sprinkle like maybe like $5 on it, see what the hell happens, see what it is.
You may as well just
But
send that $5 to me then.
no, because if it hits, I'm gonna be freaking a front flip. But yeah, I'm actually gonna take a stab on Salvador one last time because
I
realistically,
I don't hate it, but Salvador gets hit more than he hits, and that's
yeah,
never a good thing in this fight, especially with a sniper like Yanez. We saw Yanez do it over and over on his 6-fight win streak, and he's also a really good counter puncher. I don't really see how Salvador wins this fight
I think
unless he
he's just
just
catches him.
happens to crack his chin.
That's
That's
what
the
I think is gonna happen. Like, I don't think he's gonna be the forward pressure guy. Giannis is gonna come out forward pressure as soon as the bell rings. I think it's probably just gonna be off a counter shot and then probably some defend yourself, tap, 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 and then but we'll see. Like, I'm probably gonna be crazy doing it. I'm not gonna say this is my plant dog, because I didn't even call for a plant dog on this card. And but realistically, I think he's live to potentially do something. But if this fight does go 15, Giannis might get close, but I think he's gonna need some knockdowns to Fury secure his price tag in a decision. But yeah, I'm going Salvi, and I probably already know where you're gonna go.
I've got Yanez, and I think it's a knockout within the first 2 rounds, and I think he makes it look easier now. I think he
I'll
makes
say this.
Salvador look like a child.
I'll say this. Out of the Salvador and Valdell fight, if you told me I had to pick one that possibly could win, I'm going Salvador. I'll tell you now, I think Salvador is more live to win than Vidal, of course.
Well, yes, but that's
Yes.
not saying much. I give Vidal a 0.001% chance, and I give Salvador a 1% chance.
Hey man, usually it's always
There
in
you go.
lower tier. Look, I'm still waiting for a card to where I can give somebody the. I haven't gave him the title this year so far. I haven't given them my Ludovic Klein title yet.
I had mine last week when I said lock in Chase Hooper.
No, I'm talking. Yeah, Chase Hooper was a great dog pick. I'm talking about that man was Klein was at that lower tier. I'm going
Hooper's
under 7K.
Hooper was like 7,700 and scored 135 points as
That was
my locked
scary.
dog because I
That was
knew he was
scary.
going to fucking crush that fight.
Yeah, that was absolute bananas. But
Yeah, he murdered it. So, but we are split on this one. I've got Adrian Yanez and Joey's got Vinicius Salvador. Next up, we have Ramiz Brahimaj making his return after 2 years, going against Temba Garimbo. And I really, really hate picking up against Brahimaj because I really like his grappling style. I think he's one of the slickest grapplers in the UFC. Unfortunately, it's really hard to grapple with somebody that's that much longer than you. And I do think that he runs into a problem with that. Grimbo did score that knockout last fight, which was just kind of crazy. I think that's more of an outlier
yeah.
rather than a normal thing. Um, we could come into this and Brahimaj's striking could have improved over the last 2 years. We really don't know. I have Garimbo. I don't like it. I will be using Brahimaj as a dog because I still like him. He is always going to be live when it hits the mat and potentially with striking. So you just don't really know. But I do have Garimbo just because of the reach and size advantage.
So this was the crazy thing is, I picked every Garembo fight right. I had Fletcher against him because he was a short notice replacement.
Yep.
And then I had Garembo his last two fights. I'm also going to be on Garembo in this fight, but I do know the absolute fear of does I don't know. I think the wrestling is close between Brahimaj and Fletcher, but Fletcher's just a strong freak of nature and just scooped him with no problem. I think if Brahimaj is going to do it, he's going to have to try to jump his back and get him down. But I think, Brahimaj, if you don't remember who Brahimaj is, if you have a weak stomach, do not look at it. But he was in the fight with Max Griffin, and his damn cauliflower ear was flapping. Absolute disgusting. So weak stomach people don't look at it. But yeah, he's very live. He's one of the better grapplers in division at his age. Yeah, not the best overall luck. His strength of schedule is not the greatest. But like I said, if he gets people to the ground, it's primarily you're probably not either getting up for that round or there's a good chance you're getting submitted.
He trains at a really good gym too.
He
I mean,
does.
he's at Fortis MMA with the likes of Alex Morono, Diego Ferreira, who just had a
Shoo.
crushing win last week. I mean, there's a lot of good guys in that gym, and there's a lot of guys that he can train and spar with. Uh, especially some of the bigger guys. I mean, or the power guys. Jeff Neal's in that gym. Abdul Razak Al Hassan's in that gym. So there's plenty of guys that he could train with to prepare for this fight. So do not be surprised by any means if he wins this fight.
So I'm torn on this fight for DFS because I think Brahimaj to me is the more better value, especially if he does get the grappling. But for some weird reason, I know Grimbo has more, what's the word I want to use for this fight? More purpose, I guess, now. Because during the interviews, he got emotional because his one coach mom he was close with, she passed away, unfortunately, RIP. And he's talking about he wants to finish in this fight. And if he's gonna finish him, I think Brahimaj is the better grappler, but can Brahimaj get cracked? He's been cracked plenty of times and he can get finished that way. So if maybe anything, if you want to do Garambo KO decision, and you can probably get decent odds on that. Because I don't got the best read on it, but if anything, maybe on a less tier salary, not less salary, parlay. Garambo's decent. Call it more of your risky parlay because it's chance he could lose. But DFS, I'm undecided about him because he is low volume on the feet sometimes. But yeah, I got Garambo.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Both of us are in agreement, going slightly with the favorite, and would not be surprised if the dog would win. Next up, we have Chaos Williams going against Carlston Harris. This is Carlston Harris's biggest fight of his career thus far. Joey, how you see on this one?
Wait, say that one more time. Biggest fight for who?
Carlston Harris.
No, it's not. No,
Mm.
it's not. Wait till you see who he fought. No, it's not. It's only
Oh,
one
well,
loss.
that doesn't count. Shavkat was coming up still.
But dude, Shavkat, that's still the biggest name. If you look at it right now, that's
Well,
not a bad
yes,
loss.
as of right now, that was only his third fight in the UFC at the time. So fast forward, yes, that is the biggest name on his record. But as far as fights go now and where his record is and was, this is the biggest fight he has had in terms of rankings where we're at.
All right, so were you going first or was I going?
You got it.
Okay. So Chaos, when he came in, he was absolutely knocking people out left and right with no problem. Everyone was saying, holy shit, is he the potential next guy we can look up to get pushed? Then he lost. Then he fought that one kid that was like a short notice kid who was actually not that bad. Good. You know what I'm talking about, right? Where everyone thought Chaos
His
lost.
last fight,
Yeah, where everyone thought he
Bedoya.
lost.
Yeah, it's because of his power.
Yeah. Chaos got the power. He got the KO advantage. Um, I'm actually going Carlton Harris in this one. Carlton's not the only loss is Shavkat. I'm not taking nothing against Chaos because he always go in there and absolutely chin check him. Absolutely, he's always possible. But on paper, Carlton Harris, the more well-rounded guy. He has his own decent, good striking. He can get the fight to the ground. And one thing I've actually put a big question mark on for Chaos. What's his jiu-jitsu overall defense look like? Because if he gets flat on his back, Carlton Harris is going to be levels advantaged over him when it comes to grappling. And I think Harris, maybe by submissions live, maybe decision if he gets the takedowns and control going. But yeah, I got Harris.
You sure about
What?
that?
I'm pretty sure about that. I got Harris.
Well, we are going to be very different on this fight because I have Chaos Williams absolutely locked in to win this fight because there's a number of reasons for this. One, Carlson Harris has not proven himself against anybody that is worth a damn. He was losing to Jeremiah Wells, and
Which
that
I
tells
picked
you
Wells.
all you need to know.
I
He
picked
was,
Wells.
I did too. He was getting his ass kicked by Wells, and he ended up winning in the last minute because Wells tired himself out.
Got
Williams is not going to do that. Chaos will not get tired. Chaos will likely not get taken down. There's only been one person that has found success with takedowns in the UFC for Chaos Williams, and that was Michelle Pereira. And we all see how good that fucker is. Harris is not on that level. Harris also cannot stand and strike with him. He is going to get absolutely murdered in this fight. He will
what
get
round?
murdered in this fight.
Round one, round two.
I don't necessarily think that there may be a knockout. I mean, it's likely if it's coming, it's going to be the first or the second round. But
Yeah.
I think you're going to see Harrison continually try to get in, and he is just going to get lit up like your mom's Christmas tree. Yep.
You said my mom?
Mm-hmm.
That's not nice.
Thought is beautiful. So yes, I am all over Chaos. I have him locked in well, not necessarily in DFS. If he does not get a knockout in the first two rounds, I do not see him paying off. So it is more of a risk, but he's also not overly priced in DFS. So he's an excellent play for GPP.
Mm-hmm.
I do not give Harris much of a chance to win this fight. I really don't. I love Chaos in this fight.
I don't got Harris in no lineup. Like I said, I think Chaos might be up by the striking numbers. I think Harris is going to try to hold him, keep it close. Maybe get it. Like I said,
That's a
could get some
horrible
takedowns.
idea. I
Now think
think if
about it.
he
Keep it
tries to
close.
hold him, he is going to get eaten alive by elbows, and you do not want to take an elbow from Chaos.
We'll see. But for now, I'm probably fading the fight. I think it's not going to score well unless someone finishes.
So we are split on that one. I've got the favorite in Chaos Williams. Joey's got the dog in Carlston Harris. Next up, we have the main event with Edson Barboza and Lerone Murphy. Murphy is riding a 13-0 unbeaten streak. He does have a draw in there, but that's whatever. He is a very, very good up and coming prospect. He is still young. He's got excellent striking. He's got a solid ground game. Definitely could use a little work, specifically the grappling portion of it, but he is a solid striker. He's very, very technical. That said, Edson Barboza has somehow at 39,
Maybe
38,
38, one or two.
38 years old, has completely reinvented himself over the last two fights, hit a second wind. And if that second wind continues, Murphy will experience his first loss, and it's probably not going to be pretty. So Barboza still has probably the best kicks in the UFC. They're
Nice.
nasty.
Besides him and Auto now.
If you and Murphy, so that one of the big things that I didn't like about Murphy coming into this fight, most of the time when we talk about hands and hand placement where they are, and if they're up by your face, that's a good thing. In this case, it's not exactly a good thing because then your ribs and your kidneys are open, and you do not want to get kicked by Barboza there. So I do think he's going to have trouble with that right away. And we also saw that Barboza can still easily go 25 minutes. This is Murphy's first 5-round fight. You could see him get tired. We have no idea what he's going to look like after, in the championship rounds, round 4 and 5. So I really like Barboza in this fight. I could not believe that he's a dog. He is one of my favorite plays on the slate, betting and everything else.
So one thing I actually learned today, would that Barboza win over Yusuf, that was his first main event win?
Wow, I did not.
Because I was at one of the fights, he got KO'd by Gaethje. And the other two fights, I don't even know who the hell he fought personally when he had main event. But yeah, now he's 1-3 on main events. So
Oh yeah, he had that. He lost to Giga. I remember that one because he
oh yeah, he got lit up in that one.
yeah, he did not look good in that fight.
And then who was the first one?
See if I
So
can
now we got to figure it out.
Oh, it was Kevin Lee. That was that was prime Kevin. So take that with a grain of salt.
Okay, that was okay. Oh, I was at a bar watching. That was a main event fight night. Okay. Yep. Okay. I don't know what Barbosa's, what kind of workout plan he's on, the creatine he's on, or hey, maybe he has a good life at home. But
Whatever it is, it's working.
Whatever it's working, I need a prescription of that shit. But man, he's been on a damn roll. He's easily the better striker. He's gonna be the better, like, pure BJJ specialist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I still got a feeling Murphy's gonna win.
Hey,
I'm talking about, look,
roll
this
with
is
it.
like low confidence. I don't know why I'm feeling it. Oh, because Drake knows I am a Barbosa guy. I really am.
So don't
And
go.
huh?
Don't go against him.
Because knowing what's gonna happen is I'm gonna pick Murphy, and then Barbosa does lose. But then I'm gonna pick Barbosa. Yeah, this guy's been on a roll. And then just gonna be like, look, the young gun came up, should look better than expected, and then he might finish Barbosa, and then I'm gonna be highly upset, and then no, I'm gonna stick with Murphy. Um, so I will give this credit when I usually go against one of my favorite fighters.
Murphy's really not that young though. I mean, he is
He's not
32.
that young, but like I'll say in career wise, young ish, because Barbosa got years and years of fights. And one thing I hate to say this is like when I go against guys that I personally like the most, I did it with Kopylov. It worked for me. Um, I forget what other one you told me to do, and it was probably a few. I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm going against my guy, and they lose. That's how I personally feel for this weird feeling for this one. I'll be excited if Barbosa wins. I
You
really
know,
would.
so let me ask you this:
Okay,
Who trains at the better gym?
Barbosa, American Top Team.
Yes. Now, who trains at American Top Team that's currently training for a fight?
Poirier.
Yes.
See, you go. I wasn't gonna get that answer. Come on, bro.
Can't tell me that they weren't at least sparring a little bit together. And plus Pantoja just came off his fight. He is at American Top Team. There's
Talent for days there, dude. It's not even funny. It's really not,
Gamrot. There's so many. It's
dude.
really for me. It's really hard to envision a way that Murphy wins this without Barbosa getting robbed by the judges.
No, I honestly tell you this: the only way I actually do see Murphy winning, and I said this all week, if Murphy wins, he might catch him. Like on everything I love, he might catch him at some point. He might not get close. Depends on how the fight goes. If I'm expecting Barbosa to run through, kicks, win round one, there's a very good chance that happens. This fight could look where Murphy start off slow against that grappler, start around two, KO'd him. This
See
fight
that's one of the things that worries me. So let's go through Murphy's wins. Okay, he last fought Joshua
which
Kulabau.
he that was the best he looked and got aggressive, which I liked.
Still decision. Then
Yes,
before that was Gabriel Santos, split decision.
that was
Then
close.
the fight you just mentioned, Makwan Amikari, he KO'd him in the second round. Makwan is a grappler. Fourth was Douglas Silva de Andrade, decision. It's another striker. Ricardo Ramos, he did knock out in the first round. Ramos is kind of up in the air. It's hard to figure out what he's at right now because he's just been back and forth. He drew with Tukugov at UFC 242. That was obviously another decision.
Yeah.
And then before that is all of his outside of the UFC fights where he had a run of four consecutive uh, knockouts that were against nobodies, but then he also had two more decisions. So for me, how much power does Murphy actually have?
Well, athletically, I think he's pretty goddamn athletic. So I think he has power mainly from his athletic ability. But if I had to rate out of one, like a 0 through 10, I'd probably about say like a 7.5
So
for his
what you're banking on is Barbosa's chin.
knockout. Yes, which is very possible. That's the one thing I said all week. I think if anything, and one thing at least I'll say about Murphy, if you actually go back to watch those fights, I think when he knows he has a step up in competition, he feels like he gets tested. That's when you really see him come out. Combinations everywhere, fighting for better positions. Honestly, I think that's the kind of vibe I get for him. I think he's like, look, the bigger the name, I think the better I'll try to show up.
I think he's a slightly worse Sodiq Yusuf, who Barbosa just murdered. Tell me the difference between Yusuf and Murphy because there's not really much of one.
I just think Uso's probably the better. No,
There's
no
not a
better
big
pure striker.
difference between the two
Yes.
fighters.
I don't know. I just get like these weird vibes with Murphy. Like I don't think I picked against him once, and I don't know. I just get these weird vibes.
All right. Well, we are
Like
split on
betting
that pick.
ticket wise, am I gonna have a balls to put money on him? No, hell no. I don't like betting main events like that.
All right.
But
Well,
we'll see.
we are split on that one. I've got the dog in Barbosa. Joey has the favorite in Lerone Murphy. Next week there is no card. It is Memorial Day weekend. After that, we have a monster card in UFC 302. We could be possibly seeing the last fight of one of my favorite fighters, Dustin Poirier. If he wins that fight, he will likely retire right on the spot. I might shed a couple of tears for
Oh,
that.
so
But that fight is it is pretty, or that card is somewhat stacked. It is better than UFC 301. We do get Strickland back. He's going against Costa. I can't wait to see Costa die. Kevin Holland and Michael Oleksiejczuk. It's a
ooh.
decent fight. That could be a really interesting one. We have a big one. Jailton Almeida is back going against Romanov. That's going to be fun to watch Romanov just get a taste of his own medicine because it's just not going to be fun for him. And then we got Randy Brown and Zaleski dos Santos to round out that.
Ooh.
Prelims and the early prelims are looking pretty good. Your boy Roman Kopylov is on the card going against Cesar Almeida. I think that's a
Oh
really
shit.
I think it's a good one though.
It's a good one, but
Jeremiah Wells is also back. He's on the card. We'll have to go.
is he?
Yep.
Wait, I thought he just had surgery though.
No, he's fighting Nico Price.
Oh, that's
So,
new to me then.
Mickey Gall's also back. Basil Hafez gets another fight. And yeah, so I mean it's a pretty good card. There's some other fights on there that I enjoy, but that'll definitely be something to look forward to when we get back. Other than that, Joey, you got anything else you want to add in?
Oh, who was your locks? You said because mine, I already said for 1,000,000% was gonna be a boost. And I know you pretty much agreed to that. And you also said Rodriguez
No, I do not want to lock in Rodriguez.
against
That would be
Alatang.
terrible.
Alatang, the other Rodriguez.
Oh, Clayton.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that, but I also got Chaos Williams locked in.
Okay. Dr. Chaos.
Dr. Chaos, Professor Chaos, Butters. But all right, man. That'll wrap up this. As always, we appreciate you watching, and we will catch you in 2 weeks for UFC 302.